What up, though? Welcome to the hole
What's to it?
where no depth is too deep, where the woke stay woke, and the sleepers can't sleep. Yo, Saxo, what's the thought, bruh?
Hey man, we got a lot going on with these just the Epstein files. We got a lot still going on with Mexico. A lot going on, man. Obviously in Iran,
Mm-hmm.
and so just gonna touch on those topics and see pretty much what
Yeah, I feel that.
what we can pull from
I
them.
feel that, man. What's your first thought? Cause you mentioned the most messiest shit out there. See, the folks they out there, they trying to clock their T. You know what I'm saying? They really need the scoop. So when I say I hear that word Epstein, I'm like, man, most of that shit don't bother me. But to just know that shit be going down like sinners, we might as well, you know what I mean, get to it. So what's the thought
No,
on that
for
though?
real. I mean, what a big thing for me right now is gonna be like the that I've been coming across is the thing that's been going under the rug right now is the Epstein files and the really the Satan worship, the satanic shit that's been going on really with the Epstein
Mm-hmm.
files. So it's like, for the most part, have you been reading up on that one? Have
Yeah,
you
know
got
what?
any information
I
on the
gotta read. I
Satanism of
dibble
it?
and dabble, so I really gotta keep up with a little bit of this and that. See, I wasn't
Okay,
deep on that, but yeah, it's been coming across
this
my
one though.
way. But on the get down level, I mean, what you inquiring? What's your thoughts on this one? What you asking right now? Let's see if we can get to it.
Like pretty much for the most part, have you been seeing the part where look like they're worshiping some satanic, doing these rituals with these kids? Pretty much, something about blood sacrifices, all kind of shit.
I'm always like in my own lane, but finding out something like that, I always touch on something like, yeah, we dealing with a bunch of sick people, bro. But my thing is this: um, there's been a lot of shit that's been popping up. Like you, what's her name? She was part of the Epstein. She's supposed to be locked up.
Ghislaine
Yeah,
Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Shit, I don't know if somebody, people control and make up shit, but I know this shit real. You know what I mean?
Not for real.
They control and make it seem like we see something, but they, I heard different shit. You know what I mean? Where people was talking about um, somebody spotted her in Canada. I seen the video. How
Oh yeah, I
authentic
saw
do you
that.
think that is? Because if we looking at that shit, come on, man.
I mean, if you look about it at what they was being accused of, for the most part, a lot of people accuse them of being
Mm.
associated with the Mossad, the Israeli intelligence. You know what I'm saying? And if that got any validity to it, then they got a lot of
Mm.
power off these videos that they didn't accumulate over this
Yeah, yeah.
time. And if that's the case, they're not really being punished the way you would think they are. You know what I'm saying? Like it would make sense if they got us thinking she in jail, locked up in these places, but in reality she free. It
Man,
could be.
homeboy,
But yeah, that definitely looked like her in that
right. Man,
video.
that's what I was going to say. Homeboy spotted her in Canada. Not to mention when you just mentioned the thing about the Israeli policy and shit like that. They done spotted what, they think is or for sure is Epstein in Israel. They got shit, they put them right next to each other, just like when they doing the shit with him next to the $20 bill of Andrew Jackson. That's a whole nother story. But my
Yeah.
thing is with that is you can look at this shit that these people is pointing out, and I would say it's nothing but the CIA, if you ask me. If you ask me,
Oh yeah.
putting that shit right in front of your face, like, and so what? What you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Like, these type of things. Like, we understand that these people play a dirty, dirty game. Is wicked. So we know old girl what she was arrested. What was that in 2020 in New Hampshire? Then she was
Yeah.
in 2022.
Yep.
She was sentenced to 20 years. Then next thing you know,
And then pretty much
she
this
go
year they just
to
moved her to a pretty much a
Tallahassee
way
or
lighter
whatever.
prison.
Supposed to be in
So
federal prison or whatever. But then we come to find out, like the more footage that they showing, this person that they showing don't got no features, don't got no markings that look like this lady. But if you look at the bitch that was in the video from Canada, identical. Got the lazy little eye that's let's slooped a little bit. Got the exact nose, exact marking little scar under the eye. I mean, like they ain't missing a beat. My thing is, all right, check this out. If somebody walk up to me and they call me by somebody else's name, I'm not gonna answer them. Or I'm gonna be like, man, fam, you mistaken. Get the fuck out of my face.
you be
Man,
confused.
she answered to that shit. You seen it. You seen when
Exactly.
homeboy he said, "Hey, Ghislaine." When he said Ghislaine, come on now. When he said Ghislaine,
Yeah, she turned around like
she,
somebody she knew was
she
right there.
shocked somebody called her name.
Yeah.
And guess what? She responded to it. So just for you to even acknowledge somebody calling you by your name that's not your name, that give a whole lot to the people already, man. That's pissing on us, telling us that's lemonade. We know what's happening over there, but I'm gonna tell you, they playing a
No,
bigger
for
game
real.
than most people can understand. Because if you lying like she in prison, then who the fuck is that in prison? You get what I'm saying? Could it be one of those people
Exactly.
who fucked up in the head, who was on one of them islands, was on the island, grew up, who still brainwashed, still conditioned? Who doing her bid right now? That's the big question right there. That's it's gonna be swept under the
Exactly.
rug too, because ain't nobody gonna do shit about it. They know that for a fact. But my thing is with the Epstein food, you got people like that, bro, powerful as fuck. And when I say powerful, powerful.
And that's the thing though about them people in power. If you if you pay attention to like a lot of these folks in power, like some of them, like especially in foreign countries, a lot of them, one thing they like to do to keep themselves safe is have body doubles.
Yeah,
Like for example, they accuse Putin of this. A lot of people think he got like 4 or 5 body doubles that walk around acting like they Putin. So in case somebody ever tried to assassinate him, it's not even
I've
really
heard
him.
that.
You know what I'm saying? So
Excuse me, I heard that about
yeah, so
what
it's
you
like
jigga. How was 3 of his ass, the president. You know what I'm saying? I've heard it's 3 more. That somebody heard somebody say, "Oh, it's 4 Trump," shit like that. I don't know how people be about that. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't. But what you just said make a lot of sense because
yeah,
Saddam
you know what I'm saying? It would only be smart if you in power and you know somebody want to take you
Hussein.
out. And you know you're not supposed to be here, or just it's a lot of safety that come in having body doubles. You put the body double in
Hmm
danger.
now, how do it go where you got to get, you got a body double, but you got to speak and getting them to, excuse me, getting them to duplicate a voice? That take a lot of time
I
and
guess they would probably train for it. I would imagine they would have some type of training that go with the
effort.
surgeries. This is how you watch their mannerism, watch how they move when they
Mm,
talk, listen to the cadence of their
yeah.
voice. You know what I mean? Practicing all of that and getting it all down to the point where you talk to the average person, they don't know that they're not talking to the real person.
Mm. That's deep right there. It's because it will take a lot to be putting on that voice, coming up with some fight news, fight news. We have to
For
find
real.
somebody who could deliver him like him. You got to really be like him. But my thing is this, right? I'm gonna circle back to that Saddam Hussein thing because I don't know if you ever heard of what something that came across my way about the real reason why they was hunting Saddam Hussein. Now I don't know if this is true, but this is something that I heard to be true. Now I can't just necessarily say, oh yeah, that's the word. That's what they said happened. So that's true. That's it. But it was speculated. It was even, you know what I'm saying, it was even some shit that was documented. So I can't even take it away from that. That the real reason that they was looking for Saddam Hussein was that he was in possession of of this of some Nephilim skeletons, and he had this ET that they wanted, that the United States government wanted, because they knew that this ET was giving them information. Not even that, it was some shit about um it was a corpse that they wanted. They wanted the ET corpse or some shit.
Oh yeah, I think it's if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken, what I read was because it was an article back in
Right?
'06 about how they was looking for the tomb of
Yeah.
Gilgamesh.
And he found the ancient
Now,
Sumerian alien remains. Okay.
exactly, yeah, because Gilgamesh, that's the Sumerian story of the Noah's
Yeah.
flood, and so exactly, so they something about they believe that Saddam had access to Gilgamesh's tomb, and it had some type of powers that,
They said it
some
had ancient
type of
alien technology. That's the shit they were talking about. They
yeah,
said it was
yep,
a non-human body, and they recovered it from type of a grave site in the desert. That's what it was. He recovered it from a
yep.
grave
They said
site.
it was a
Yes,
Stargate.
yep. It was something about hidden stargates. That's what it was. He said it was
Yep.
ancient alien artifacts, the hidden stargates, and some shit like that. I'm like, man, because the shit they don't tell us. I mean. Of course, most people ain't ready for it because you wouldn't even understand it. But if you start to know that, oh, they got alien bodies that they holding on to, then this is bigger than just, this real news above and beyond the shit we talk about daily. You know what I mean? We watching shit that's on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, shit like that. That's the shit we coming across. But just to find out that they on a whole nother, bruh, they on a whole nother wave. Like,
But the thing is, they've always been on this type of time. They just don't tell
of
us
course,
that. You see, at the end of the day, it's an arms race. They competing with everybody for who can get the most dangerous
hmm
weapons. You know what I mean? So it's like even if you go back to World War II and you look into all the weird stuff that Hitler was looking into spiritually, trying to get an advantage, trying to find different things that got different either alien technology. He was looking into spiritual thing. They trying to look for any advantage they can
that's
get
true.
in any
That's true.
battle. So if they find out Saddam got access to an ancient Stargate that got ancient alien technology, they like, yeah, we
Yeah,
need
we
that.
run that shit, and he didn't want to give it up.
Yeah, for
He
real.
wasn't gonna give it up, and that just leads me to my next thing. Like, if you got people like, and we knew that Saddam, this was public information. He would have them standing right by him, all of his doubles. Remember, his doubles really looked like
Yeah,
him with all them mustache. You like shit? Which one is him? Which you is you? But the
exactly.
thing is, if that's the case right there, how are you able to say who if they snatched him of like who took him out like for real? How are we able to put that into perspective like that man out of there? You can't even be for sure of that. You know what I mean? You got people that's telling you he gone. What if he did compromise that information? Like, all right, they caught up with him, or what if they never caught up?
But here's the thing though, and that's another thing about that, because it's like another thing I know about Saddam is, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken, didn't he used to work with the United States
He
government?
did, and that's another thing that lead me back to the Epstein shit. Epstein was
Exactly.
known to work with the agencies, with the CIA. So if he working with
Exactly.
if he working with the Israeli elites, and you got to keep in mind that the Israeli elites and the United States government are like this. They go hand in hand. That's why the United States always come to Israel defense. Like you like your best friend. You fuck with him, you fuck with me, type shit. So
No,
the
for
way I'm
real.
looking at it is if Epstein is able to, if Saddam is able to do that with his doubles, how come Epstein ain't able to have a double? How come he not even just at the double? How come he ain't able to get into some other
For
shit
real.
and be like, hey, I'm going into this UAP and I'm getting up out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to
No,
disappear,
for real. And I mean, and I got even theories on it too. Like, for example, if all of this is
right?
connected, and you know how they say the world is a stage, you know what I mean? If it's all connected and the world is a stage, and then what if all of them just acting and playing
I
their
believe
role?
that from the jump. I've been fell out of so I used to be so deep into the rabbit hole to the point where I was like to the point where I figured it out in my own perspective, like the shit ain't real. None of it's real. So that's when I reached that point,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? I reached the breaking point. I was at the point where it was like everything is psychological. And this is the same way I feel right now to this day. Like everything is psychological and the world is a big ass game and or everybody running game, everybody scamming. It's up to you what you gonna get scammed on. Because if you falling for this information, which ain't information at all, shit, it's just a game you choose to play psychologically. It's something you want. It go from
Right.
every subject, every category in life. What side did you pick? What did you choose? Where you hold firm? So if you holding firm that, oh man, men landed on the moon, even though we got proof that shit never happened. Even NASA admitted that shit never
Exactly.
happened. Or, like that'll lead us even to another subject about people who being, I don't want to get on this subject and get stuck on it either, but people who are flat earthers or people who are round earthers and then people who compromise and say, you know what, the earth is flat and we in a dome. And, it's a lot to touch on. You get what I'm saying? Like it's
No,
psychologically
for real.
what you gonna fall for or what you engage into.
Exactly.
But my thing about that whole thing about him being able to or being in a position to say he killed himself, I'm not the type of dude that's just gonna be too I'm not gonna willingly submit to that. I'm not gonna be like, you know what,
No, for real.
dude killed himself. We wasn't there. We didn't see that. We don't have the proof. Break that down and build that up.
Exactly.
Show me footage that's real. No AI shit, just real. Boom.
We know for a fact that the video, the camera that was watching his cell is missing like a minute or a minute 30
Mm-hmm.
seconds. For a minute and 30 seconds, the camera went
Mm-hmm.
out. And so you can't prove nothing here or there. But at the same time, it's like for it to go out, that's a lot of time. 90 seconds, that's a lot of time to get somebody out of a cell and get somebody else into a
The
cell.
double.
That's enough time to do whatever you
The
need to do
double.
at the end of the day. But that's why, like they say, it's a saying about it. Like in the world of the blind, the one-eyed man is
Right.
king, and they know that because at the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
information. If only they know the truth, then they get all the power. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And they keep running these
Mm-hmm.
cycles of just all these different things, all different lies, and everybody getting tangled up, following this, following that, and it's hard to find the needle in the haystack, which is the
My
truth.
thing is this right here. This man caught charges in 2006. Other shit came out in 2008. Then he got arrested in 2019. It took that long to put, like, what kind of game is this? Because had that been you, me, or anybody else who looked like you and me, out of there like yesterday. You get what I'm saying? Or even
Because
somebody
he,
who ain't even got.
if
Go ahead, go ahead.
no, you good. I was just saying because if the allegations is
Right.
true, and he got these videos on all of these politicians, and he got them all in his pocket, they got more
That's
power
the
than we can
thing
even
we
fathom.
missing. That's what we missing. He had all the proof on these
Exactly.
people. It was on some dick shit. He had the
Exactly.
Netflix video.
Can't be touched.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me more about your perspective on the people that he had lined up. Like who you think they all were and what kind of evidence.
I mean, for the if when I look into it, it looked like it's just a massive scheme for what I'm saying, get power from whoever you
Mm,
can. And I feel like what they use these what they call honeypot
mm.
traps. You know
What
what
is
I'm
that? Go
saying?
ahead and break
Where
that down for the people who never heard of it, including me. What's the honey?
no, I got you. So what it is it's something they've been doing since this applied to the political world. This applied to the streets. It's just setting somebody up with a girl
Oh,
or somebody they whatever their sexual taste
oh,
is. You set them up while they thinking about whatever sexual thought they thinking of. You know what I'm saying? You either getting information from them or you getting their secrets on their
yeah.
lifestyle. You see what I'm saying? And they set these
Mhm.
people up. These people go to these hotel rooms or go back to their house or whatever it might be, and the whole time everything is recorded. So if the person secretly gay or they secretly cheat on their wife or whatever the little sexual secret is, that's what the honeypot trap was
Oh,
for. You see what I'm saying? Now we got your secret. Now we finna show you photos of the thing you try to keep secret the most.
blackmail.
And now, yeah, once you see these photos, oh, you're gonna listen to it. You're gonna vote for what we want you to vote
Oh,
for. You're gonna do what we want
put
you to
money in
do.
where we want you to put money. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's how these folks got so much power. Because if they got everybody trapped in a honeypot, you see what I'm saying? They've been taking these folks to these islands, making them think, oh yeah, you do whatever you want to do here, finding everybody creepy little, nasty little taste that
No,
whatever they
I know.
got. You see what I'm
It
saying?
was a
And feeding it to them. And they're not feeding it to them just so they can have a good life or they whatever they taste is, or you see what I'm saying, they living it up and whatever they thinking they crazy, they drinking blood and doing whatever this shit is they
whoa.
doing. They thinking it's to feed them. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's to control them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? They making them think, oh yeah, go ahead, live it up. You do your little creepy shit that bring you all of this bliss.
Yeah.
Live it up, bro. Nobody's ever gonna know about it. But then at the end of the day, it's all recorded.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what that honeypot is. And if they've been doing this honeypot to everybody for this long, then they got so much information on so much people, and these people want to keep up their image that keep them in office. And not only that, but just not be embarrassed to the people that they know. These folks got so much power that we can't even fathom over these people.
Right, right.
And they've been running it for 20, 30, 40 years. They got it on all these folks, these old
Yeah.
politicians that used to party back in the
Hey, they
90s,
had Bill
early
Clinton. They
2000s.
had Bill Clinton on the Epstein files. They had man, they had a lot of celebrities on there. They even said that, it could have
Yeah.
been that thing. What we talked about before, was it a calling tip? But they said they had Jay on there. Jay-Z on there. They had several, man, the list goes on and on. There's people who listening to this right now who still
Yeah.
naming people. But
Yeah.
my thing is
No, you good. You good. They had pretty much a hotline. Well, I know it was different sources in the files. It's like all kind of shit. They got
mhm,
the pictures on some people. They got audio on some people, and then other people they got hotlines that they called into to report like, okay, this is something I seen back in the day, or you know what I'm saying. Now those, you know what I'm saying, you believe them however much you want to. You see what I'm saying? But they gave certain information, people combing through, and it's still, you know what I'm saying, like it's a million files been released, and they still looking for everything
Yeah,
on
I
it.
don't think people be lying about certain people. I just think that some people know how to sweep it under the rug. Because when you got names like Elon Musk coming up in there, Jay Z, Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, what was his name, Lex Western. You got a lot of people that's coming up in this thing. You just thinking like
Yeah,
these all powerful, these all powerful people with they rich and powerful. They got money to make shit go
exactly.
away. Like you will hear something about it and then crickets, nothing happened. You don't hear shit no more. You get what I'm saying?
But that's the thing. Another thing too, like you know how like just to take it back just a little bit, but you know how like for example in music or acting or anything like that, we just got this simultaneous understanding of it's
Oh yeah,
gatekeepers.
most
You see what I'm
definitely.
saying?
I heard they gotta go to the
And
doodle
you're not
factory to
gonna
get
get
to that
in,
though. You know, I heard they gotta
huh?
go to the doodle factory to get that, the gatekeeper. You gotta
Exactly, that's my point. But the
start
reason why
down.
they do that, they only let people in that they can control. You see what I'm saying? You only gonna get past the
Mm-hmm.
gatekeepers through that gate if you do what they want you to do in order for them to have that power over you. If they can't have that say over you, then they're not gonna put you in that position.
Mm.
So it's like that's a theory, and if that's a theory, then probably a lot of these allegations could be true.
Mm. Mm. So this is my thing right here. So you hear something that's big on somebody and shit like that, and it just go away, and then the people that were saying it just shut up. That give you a lot to think about. Like, hold up.
They got that
Yeah,
message.
such and such was putting this down heavy, got the rest of the world to thinking about it, and now you fall back from it. Other people still thinking about it, but they ain't hearing about it. So that get it started where it's more conspiracy theories. And speaking of conspiracy theory, I just gotta ask you this question right here. In this United States that we live in, the real Americas, but if we hear so much bull that on the daily. Now, we don't hear one story, two stories a day. We hear on top of stories on top of stories. Would you consider like globally the United States is the capital of gossip, capital of conspiracies, capital of wanting tea, and all that? Like you don't have no place around. You don't got no place nowhere that straight up come up with a bunch of dirty shit like right here. Like right here is really where it's going down like sinners. Like it's really real. We really come up with so much that all this shit cannot be fake. It can't be nothing that people was just saying out their ass. Now, don't get me wrong. Some shit you hear and then you get to the bottom of how you think about it. You like, that's them. That's just them playing it again. But who you think is putting the information or the misinformation in the realm?
I think that's just a basic thing the government do.
Mm,
And just for power and control, just in general. Like for example, the easiest way to hide the easiest way to hide for any conspiracy would be to put extra conspiracies out there. Now you don't know which ones is
yeah, it's
true.
true.
And so it would make sense for them to be putting a lot of these conspiracies out there right alongside the ones that they know is the truth. Now they can put the truth in your
Hmm.
face and everybody call it a conspiracy.
Yeah. Now you don't really know what to go on because you get one story and then it's on to the next one. Your mind ain't got time to compute this one like you was just about to figure this out and crack the code. And before you can figure it out and crack the code, let's hit you with 12 more rumors. Let's hit you with 12 more conspiracies. Let's hit you with six of them that's true. Let's hit you with six of them that's bullshit. I get that. But my thing is right here, in the end, like I ain't gonna say in the end because I really can't say this will ever be over with. But when we start to find out more and more about this, like say these files that's being put out, what do you think that's gonna do to the people that people are looking at as, powerful, powerful people? Like, do you got a name in mind? Who's going down next? We seen stuff happen already that's been going down, but you got somebody you can think of right now that they would be coming for?
I mean, I can't think of nobody in particular because in reality, I think in America they would crash out before they allow themselves to go down
Right.
for it. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the UK, Prince Andrew, I think he just got, or wherever they that dude is, it somebody in their royalty just got
Mm-hmm.
arrested for this. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if it's
I,
Andrew, but
I
you know what I'm
may be
saying. I know
right
somebody
there.
in their
I'm not too
royalty
sure, but it
got
sounds
arrested.
familiar when you said that.
Yeah, in other countries they getting arrested. They leaders, they businessmen, they getting arrested. But in America, that's not
Yeah,
happening,
you're not gonna have that
and it's not gonna happen because at the end of the day, for example, the reason why we're not talking about Epstein right now, Trump always got something up his sleeve to make you talk about something
here.
else. You see what I'm saying? So right now, that's not even being discussed no
Yeah,
more
yeah.
at this point.
That's a lot, bro. That's a lot to touch on. That's just to know that, man, these people playing right in your face, but they playing chess. It ain't like they play. They ain't
Exactly.
like they playing this chess one strategic move at a time, and the pawns that they is serving up, they seem to be people that you think was powerful, but nah, nigga, just a pawn. No, nah, they just a pawn. He just a pawn. She just a pawn. All that, and that just lets you know that it's bigger vampires behind the scene. You know what I mean? There's bigger
Yeah.
people, bloodsuckers, is what I mean by that saying. Not before everybody start running down that, lane or whatever.
No, I
I
promise,
mean,
man.
it's bigger people that's behind these scenes. Names that a lot of people never even heard of. Like people that are really powerful that just people wouldn't dare mention. So I'm thinking,
I don't think the people who really want run the world. I don't think we'll ever know their name.
mm,
I don't think. Yeah, man. I don't think the people who I think the people who run it probably been running it for a long
so
time.
you think that these are the people that, just if we're gonna take it left, let's go there. You think these are the people that they say been on the planet for, hundreds of years and they still alive and they do all these rituals to stay alive? You think that's what's going on, or you just saying it in another way?
I mean, to that I will be open minded about it. The thing is, I just if you if you look throughout
Hmm.
history, a lot of these wars that was fought was funded by somebody
Right.
else. You see what I'm saying? Most of these wars can't happen without certain
Hmm.
funding. You know what I mean? It's just like in that those shadow funding, you got to look at who's benefiting from these
Yeah,
wars. You see what I'm
for real.
saying? And it's like, for example, what's going on right now in Iran. I honestly don't think America benefiting from that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I don't even really know if Israel benefiting from that. If you look at what's going over there right now, I don't
I
know
see.
who benefiting from a lot of. If you look at what's going on over there in Russia and Ukraine, who really benefiting from that?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's like it's tearing Russia's economy apart.
Hmm.
Ukraine, they in a fight, what they call it, existential crisis right now. They trying to exist, like they just trying not to get exterminated. But who really benefiting? It's like we don't even really know because right now it's hard to see what the players of the chess game is seeing right now because we on the
Right.
chessboard. So it's like it's hard for us to have that perspective of what the hell is happening in this game that they playing right now, this power chess game that they
Yeah.
playing, and we don't really know
Yeah.
that.
Now,
We see the king, we see the queen, but we don't know who really moving the king and the
yeah.
queen.
Now, this is what I want to touch on when you said that we on the board. Like where are you putting us at on that board? I mean, so we just the
Oh,
pawn.
we
We
definitely
just the
pawns.
pawns. Okay, all right. So my thing is right here. Even as a pawn, somebody is you making a move for somebody else to make the next move. So how are we being moved
Exactly.
for the next move? Is it just a illusion thing, or what would you touch on that with? I got to see this one.
I mean, I feel like in any good chess game, it's all about illusions. It's all about faking and pump faking and making them think you're about to do this, but you're really going here.
Mm,
You see what I'm saying? So if you're thinking about it in terms of
yeah,
chess, you got the people of Gaza, that's a pawn. You got the people of America, that's a
yeah,
pawn. People of Russia, that's a pawn. People of Ukraine, that's a pawn. People of China, that's a pawn. All normal people just pawns. And so it's like if you're thinking about it like that in that sense, then yeah, these wars that's going on, they wouldn't really care about that. All this money that we pay in taxes that end up in the government's hands, and they spend all this money on military because we a
yeah,
pawn. That's like we're not supposed to do anything meaningful. That's not how the game was designed. You know what I'm saying? So they don't really care when we protesting about, you know what I'm saying, this or that, or when things happen in Gaza, when shit's happen in Ukraine or could happen in Taiwan, at the end of the day, that's the players of this game. They just moving that without a thought. And when this group of people get xed out and marked off the board, they don't really care. You see what I'm saying? It's just a means to an end for
That
them.
goes back to me thinking about the psychological part because if you know that it's something that's allegedly going on, we don't have the proof of that. You can this could all be like, you know how it's a one world order for real for these people. This could all be some shit that's just psychologically not happening. This is just something we being told. Oh, it's a war going on. They showing us fireworks. Who? I mean, everybody love to see a good fight. But who is doing the shit that they do? Who is taking the time to plan a fight? Who is letting people know their next move before they make their next move? Who is showing people they move while they're making their move? That gives you the illusion that this is all like for somebody who done had enough and fed up, who already see the psychological point of it all. This give me the this give me the notion that this shit can't be real. This is not real because when you say that you making this move and then you make this move pretentiously, if you ask me, you do something that just happened to happen. That gives me, as somebody who find myself to be in the realm of knowing better, to be like, nah, ain't no way. Now, don't get me wrong. It's wars and shit that happen. It's shit that happen to people, but psychologically, we got to look at it on a better playing field. Like, it can't be this much destruction. Now we know that there's people that's been at wars for years and all this of we what we've been told or whatever, but none of us have seen these things. And you got soldiers who would rebuttal. I get that. But on the level or the scope that we are presented this shit, that shit don't add up. It don't add up in
Oh yeah,
reality.
but if you look at yeah, if you look at that, for example, the best example that everybody like to reference when they talking about wars and power and control is that book
Okay.
1984. I don't know if you ever
No, I
read
have.
that, but it's like, all right, I'm gonna give you like just a quick
Okay, run
breakdown
it.
of it. It's just it's just a long story short, the government doing everything they can to run propaganda on the people, and they just it's so many lies to just to run complete control, completely manipulate people into being like
Uh-huh.
robots. So, for example, in the book, and it's like everybody they got these computer screens, these cameras that's watching everybody and watch every move you
Mhm.
do. Everybody gotta think the same. Everybody gotta say the same shit. And if you think different, if you say some shit, you're gonna go missing. You know what I'm saying? So, but in that book, the whole backdrop of the entire book is this war that's going on.
Right.
It's this war that's going on. It's been going on forever, and it seemed like it's never
All
gonna
right.
end. You see what I'm saying? And that's they keep telling people that that's the reason why they got all these rules. You see what I'm saying? They keep telling everybody this is why we watching y'all so closely. This is why we, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? This is why y'all under this military state. It's because this war we got going on. But throughout the book, they find out, you know what I'm saying? Like it's all bullshit. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they come to the conclusion that they're not even really at war. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's just power. This is they got everybody acting like robots. They controlling everybody. They don't have to worry about people fighting for wages. They don't got to worry about unions. They don't got to worry about people wanting to feed their family. They don't got you see what I'm saying? They don't have to worry about
Yeah.
none of that. People just show up to their slavery, they do their job, and they just be happy to go home and be alive.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? And that's really a representation of the world that we could be living in right now. It could be that, like you said, none of that shit is
Right.
happening.
So you
It could
go ahead.
be.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, it could be if it was any type of connection to that book. If it was that like that, then it would be like motherfuckers is going to
Yeah.
work and they keep telling us, "Oh, we need these taxes because we can't give y'all health care. We need these taxes for defense because Iran and North Korea, they got these nukes and we got to stay safe and we got to be able to have the strongest military and none of that." But if it was like 1984, then none of that's happening.
Right. Right.
It's just that everybody is in a perpetual state of slavery.
Now that make me touch on something that I heard, and I done heard this plenty times in my life, and it stayed relevant because when you find somebody who maybe done had enough, or um, somebody who heard enough, or felt enough, seen enough, experienced enough, you find people who say that money ain't real. Like you find people say that money is an illusion. I've heard plenty of people say, money is a tool. Well, that damn tool is working. But what I want to say is right here. And it's broken in some senses. But my thing is about like the illusion part of it is you're going to work, you're making money, you got a faction of people that's taking that money, doing whatever they want to do with it, spending it how they want to spend it, funding whoever they want to fund with it, and it's supposed to be all on your dollar. But what if it's not even that? What if it's not even that type of game? You know, like what if that's the big illusion is to make you think you playing that type of game?
Oh yeah, it's that could definitely be a part of the system of control because if you think about it, at the end of the day, everything that we consider money is just paper and
Yeah.
rocks.
Well, the real,
At the end of the
yeah,
day,
the
you said
real
what?
money that we knew of before, especially in this country we live in, gold and silver. Silver and gold was the only form of money ever. Like we've only known that
No, for
before
real.
paper money, paper currency was invented and it was backed by the gold. It was backed. That's why you have all these US treasuries right now if anybody want to know who got the most gold out of our in our country, it's the government. The government got those US bars.
Oh
They the
yeah.
ones like, you got wasn't it a movie where somebody went to go hit a lick on this damn on the
But if you think about it, even just look at level deeper into it, even deeper
Mhm.
than that, even gold, diamonds, these precious metals that we call them, they only got the value that we assign to it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The thing is, if you like, from a philosophical point of view, if you zoom out, the only things that really got value in this world is health,
Mm.
the fucking planet that we live
Right.
on. You see what I'm saying? The environment we survive in, and our coexistence with
Yeah.
each other. Them the only things that really got value. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, no, for real. And it's like, but we convince ourselves that these shiny rocks is to die over. You see what I'm saying? And it's really the driving force behind everything that goes on in the world is really crazy. If you really think
Yeah, hold
about it.
on. So in that instance, I want to ask you like, are we say some shit is real, some shit is not real. What's definitely seeming real to me is the assassinations that took place. Cause you got videos of people fucking shit up over there in Mexico.
Oh
Y'all
yeah.
been crazy
I think
about
that's
El
legit.
Mencho. What was his name? Nemencio,
Elemento, yeah, that was
yeah,
it.
Nemencio Osagura,
Oh yeah, I didn't know his real
or
name.
whatever. I don't know the man's name. But anyway, that happened about a week ago. Maybe probably a little longer than a week ago. It happened on the 22nd of February. And this is my thing right here. You know how much shit they was around there fucking up just because that one person died, and that gives you something to think about. What was it? He was the military killed him. He was the CJNG boss or whatever.
Yeah, the CJNG
There you go.
cartel.
There
Yep,
you go.
the leader.
Yeah. So touch on that for me because I know you geopolitical than a motherfucker. So go ahead and get into that one.
No, for real. Hey, but I know for that one, he been the leader of the CJNG. So the CJNG
Hmm.
cartel, that's the that's been the new upcoming cartel for like the last, I don't know, I guess you would say about 15 years or so. You know, the Sinaloa is the one that's gonna be closer to the United States
Yeah.
border. That's the ones that's been doing a lot of the cocaine and all of that, the weed, a lot of that's coming from the Sinaloa, right? And below them is the
Right.
CJ&G. The CJG, the difference between the
Hmm.
two, Sinaloa is more money
Okay.
focused. CJ&G is more militant.
Yeah. Okay.
They pretty much straight up military. So El Mencho, they've been looking for El Mencho for years because he don't just do business in Mexico. He is an international criminal.
Yeah.
He get he was getting his shipments to UK, to Asia, to the Middle East. He was giving it to whoever wanted it.
Right.
So for the most part, they've been looking for El Mencho for a while. They finally was able to get him. The United States was helping him with some
Of course.
intelligence for the
Of
most
course. It
part.
wouldn't be right if they didn't put their
Yeah,
nose into nothing else. And somebody
yeah,
else
you
didn't.
already know. So
It wouldn't be right.
yeah, and they was able to track him by following one of his girls. So they have been
The honeypot.
following pretty well. It could
Hit him
be.
with the
That's why a
honeypot.
lot of people they were saying a lot of the people who was there was accusing her of having something to do with it. But the CIA people who had already pretty much released the information on how they got him, they said they had been following her for weeks, months before this even happened. They knew that she was one of his
Right.
girls, and so they just said we just gonna follow her, and
She gonna
eventually
leave.
she
Yeah.
gonna lead us to him. You know what I'm saying? So everywhere she went, she had escorts, cartel escorts, and
Mm.
everything. And they noticed that every now and again she go to this little village that's like poor. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know what I'm saying? And then when she get there, she kind of disappeared. They found out what was happening was she get to this village or
Right.
whatever, and the cartel pick her up, take her through the woods, and then that's where she would meet up with El Mencho at this mansion in the forest. And the reason why is because he pretty much that's where he had his
Yeah.
army at. You know what I'm saying? So can't nobody touch him out there, usually. You know what I'm saying? So the I said mafia, Mexican
Mm.
army, they pretty much heard about what was going on, and with the lady or whatever, they found out that she was there going to the spot in the woods. They did their little
Hmm.
recon, and they just did a black ops
Okay.
mission. They pretty much they pulled up with their
That sounds
military. The
about right.
shootout ensued. Yeah, yep. The shootout ensued. He
Okay.
ended up getting wounded.
Now you say he ended up
No,
getting
you good?
wounded, running out or whatever.
Yeah, they pretty much. So when the gunfight happened between the CJG military and the Mexican army, you know what I'm saying? He ended up. I guess the Mexican army was getting the best of them or whatever. He tried to take a back route, ended up getting wounded in the runaway or whatever, and that's how they was able to capture him. And he died in the helicopter when they were trying to take him to wherever they were trying to take him
Mm.
to.
See that right there is an indicator for me for the red flag right there. Like, okay, that go along with the Epstein shit. That go along with Saddam Hussein. That go along with fucking Bin Laden. That go along with all the people. Might I add, we forgot about
You never really
that.
see
We don't
them.
see the deaths. We don't see this. We don't see nobody getting their brains blew off and their heads cut off to prove that this is a real assassination, a real execution. So that just leaves room for conspiracy theories, for intellects, for people who just overstand the bullshit that they want you to understand that this motherfucker probably ain't dead at all. That's the shit.
Well, but the thing is, his gang acted
I
like he
mean,
was.
they
His
tearing shit
cartel
up
acted
because
like
you
he
would do
was.
something if you don't know either. If you don't know,
Well,
you
that's
would.
true.
If you don't know, if
That's
you
facts.
get
Yeah,
radical
that's
about some
facts.
shit, and then imagine his gang for the people who really sit up high, who really know, like shit, can't tell them shit. They fucking shit.
No,
They
for
going
real.
crazy because
But then
they
on
probably
a
the
deeper level,
YNs over
though,
there. The ones that's going crazy, probably they
yeah,
YNs that's just tearing shit down because.
that's exactly what it
Mm-hmm.
was.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got to think though, it too, if it was a case where he wasn't, you know what I mean? We have to think about what the reason for that would
Right.
be,
Right.
and the reason for that would be for me would be obvious if something like that was going on. It looked like because who benefit from the work that they do.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of people that benefit from the work they do. A lot of people know that since shit, the at least the Vietnam War, that the CIA and the DEA been using drug selling to fund these black wars. You see what I'm saying? They can't get the money off the books because Congress is not signing off on you sending the military to
So you
Vietnam to
say.
bomb people. They not sent.
So
You said
you
what?
say.
No, for real, but that's what was going on at the time because you had people protesting. You see what I'm saying? Like that's why they couldn't. That's why they ain't really got no war that they really want to. Because at the end of the day, people don't support
Yeah.
that shit. People don't even support what's going on in Iran
Yeah.
right
But
now. So you
they
see what I'm
still got
saying?
to
They
have
got to be real slick about what they do with the military. They got to be real
it.
slick about it. Like people, some people watch the
Yeah. Yeah.
books. They say exactly how much military money you spending on. Oh, you just spent $20 billion to go over there and do what? For what? That why you using the taxpayer dollars like
Yeah.
that?
But it's
You know
people
what
who
I
ain't
mean?
gonna say
So
nothing either, though. I think those are the people.
it's
So
true.
they put people in position that's gonna play the game. So I think those are the people
Oh
who
yeah.
gonna keep it, on the hush, and go ahead and go with it. Like say, if they did use $20 billion of funding, they would say, "Hey, we use 500 million. We use 1 billion." It's people who would cut the numbers and shit like that
Oh
and know how
yeah.
to play it without saying it. So
It's true.
ain't no reason
It's
they in
true though.
position that they in because they need people that they can control, as you said already. So let's not run away with that idea and think that let's not put too much trust into these people, is what I'm saying. And thinking
No,
that
for
they
real.
won't.
But the thing is, the cartel making billions a
Yeah.
year. You see what I'm saying? And let's just call it what it is. If they can bomb and go at Al Qaeda or ISIS from a halfway across the globe,
Yeah.
they could take out the cartel from right up under
But
their
that's
nose
the thing
if
right
they
here.
wanted to.
The cartel is too lucrative for them to be sitting there wiping out cartel.
That's
You
my
understand
point.
how they
That's
doing
my
what they
point.
doing. It's no secret to this world. You had people who was blowing it when Frank Lucas went down. What did he do? He took down political figures, police and shit like that with him. Listen, I ain't your regular rat. Hey, I can take out who I you get what I'm saying? I know
Not for
what's
real.
really going on. This ain't I don't got nobody
Not
up in
for
the street to
real.
tell on. Who the big man gonna tell on? Those that's pulling his strings. You get what I'm saying? So let's
Yeah.
think about who in position to actually do some shit like that to move the pieces on the board around or to not be moved because they got a real powerful queen protecting the king, which is, the queen is the system, the
Yeah.
king is the system. I don't know, man. That just leave us to wonder a whole bunch, like,
But back to that discussion on the back on the chessboard,
yeah,
cartels they're part of that same
yeah, but I think
game.
they
You see what
pawns
I'm
as
saying?
well. I think they pawns.
Yeah,
I think they
exactly. That's the
very
point.
important pawns, but
They
they
have
pawns.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's only gonna be somebody who political that's gonna be something like a rook, a bishop, or a knight. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's the same way because at the end of the day, they know that the United States could come through with the Navy and end anything they got going on. At the end of the day, everybody has to be able to understand that the United States got the most powerful military on the planet, and if
Uh,
they wanted to, well, we had that discussion about them with China, but
I
at the
mean,
same time,
I mean, if
we
we had the most powerful, I could say the United States military is very fucking powerful. But I'm not just going to exclude China and Russia. I'm not going to say that they are not forces to be reckoned with.
the reason why I'm
I'm
saying
not going to
that
say they're not forces.
I
If
wouldn't
they
have said
wasn't
that two
forces,
days
if they
ago.
wasn't forces to be reckoned with, every threat that they have sent, which is all could be just psychological, a game that all of them is playing, sitting at the United
Oh,
Nations
true,
table,
it's true.
smiling, having a drink or whatever, just like, hey, what would they fall for next? But if they wasn't forces to be reckoned with already, every time they would have threatened war, telling the world that they wish we would, because that's what the both of them have said. That hey, the United States can't punk us like they do everybody else, and that is something they put on record. So if the United States was the big badasses you think they were or think they are, then I promise you it would be no problem for them to eradicate any one of China or any one of China's leaders. You don't see them going after China's leaders. You don't see them going after Putin and them. They don't go
Yeah,
after them. They talk shit. They'll talk shit. You might hear your orange agent talking shit about, well, they don't want to do that, or you might hear people talking. They don't want to fuck with those two for a reason. For one, those
it's
two are
true.
threatening
It's
to.
true.
Those two are together, sticking together.
And North Korea.
Say what?
And
Of
North
course,
Korea.
North Korea. Oh, I don't know how I forgot about Kim Jong Un. I don't know how I forgot about him, or however you say his name. But anyway, I don't know how I forgot about
Yeah.
him. So you put those three together, and you already know that shows you that yeah, we got one fucking hell of a military. But why, if we so powerful, haven't we wiped out them with their threats? Because it's something bigger than that.
The,
It's always like somebody who always
exactly.
got their chest out talking about what they'll do to who until they run into who, and that's just
And now here's the thing, though. China, because they didn't expect China. China flipped the script on them. Just like for example, they used to help China out. They used to look at China like a little brother because in World War II, Japan was
that.
fucking
It
them
has.
over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Japan did China dirty in World War
Yeah.
II. So after that, that's really how China even got Taiwan in the first
Yeah.
place. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, Taiwan probably even belonged to Japan. And Japan, like I said, well, I don't know exactly how, but they've been fighting over that little island for about a couple
Could have
thousand
been.
years or whatever. They beef is ancient. You know what I mean? But in World War II, I know for a fact, Japan was handing them
Yeah.
their ass. So they didn't have a military really for some decades there. So America wasn't even really worried about China for the
Mm-hmm.
longest. You see what I'm saying?
And
And
that's
then
right.
under their nose, yeah, because and a lot of people even suspected that the reason China got so much people in the first place was after that war. They started pretty much they used population as a way to kind of like fight back. They started having more babies and they started teaching, making sure every person in the country knew kung fu, could fight because the way Japan was going through them villages, just completely massacring entire towns of people. You see what I'm saying? 100,000 here, 250,000 there, and so for the most part, nobody even took them serious, and they took advantage of
Hmm.
that. While they was, just known as a farmer
Yeah.
country with just people, they ain't got no
They
money,
got
a
their
bunch
weight
of
up.
poor people, whatever.
They got their weight up and they got
Exactly.
smart.
Slowly but surely, right up under everybody nose, they was building up their
Hmm.
military, and then out of nowhere, before you knew it, they had nukes.
Yeah.
Then they got nukes, and then it's like, what I'm saying, you can't really run up on them once they
Oh
got
yeah.
nukes, because yeah,
Those fools got some real missiles that can find you. And I'm not talking a game when I say find you. They can literally send a missile exactly where they want it and hit exactly what it's pointing at or what wherever the coordinate is that they gonna make sure that happen. That's the part about dealing with people that people sleep on. You thinking like somebody think that this Chinese person is just a frail person and this and that. Well, that frail person know that if he can't whoop you physically, and for one, they martial arts is a motherfucker. But what I want to say is right here, if you can, and not to
yeah,
just take up for the Chinese, but just taking up for the people that you call a nerd. If you think that okay, they got over 1 billion people in their country, right? And if you thinking you messing with a nerd or you messing with a bunch of nerds, guess what nerds know how to do? Think. So they know how to think to defend themselves. That's where you come up with all of the
the
weaponry. You
advantage
come up with
though,
their drones, their technology, because they had time to be left alone to come up with a master plan. Like, okay, for every action is a reaction. For every reaction is an overreaction. For every overreaction is an action to an overreaction. They already understand it to keep the ball moving because there's people who slept on those geeks in school and all of this. And guess what? Geeks turn out to be rich. Geese turn out to be powerful. Geese turn out to be the people who scheme a lot, come up with some plans and some plots to go ahead and geeks are some of the most destructive people on the planet because they were bullied. And if you bully a person for so long, guess what you drive them to do? You drive them to fuck shit up, and that's natural reaction because you create a. I can say this right here. We all seen this happen, especially in the United States. You can create a fucking school threat by bullying somebody. You can create somebody who will come and lay the whole classroom down because you couldn't stop bullying them. You get what I'm saying? So by the United States thinking
true.
that they bullies and then carrying that not to pick on you, but having the people that live there carry that mentality. Are we the most in the world, please? We are not. The reason I say that because there are factions, there are militaries that will get with us and make us fight a real
Oh
reputable war.
yeah,
They won't just tuck. They ain't gonna be tucking their tail. They're gonna
oh
really be
yeah.
doing shit.
I don't, this thing, man, I don't want you to think I'm just, what I'm saying. I don't want you to think I'm saying that from a
No, and I
patriotic
don't
point of
want you to
view.
think I'm saying that from
I'm saying this
a
from an
terrorist point of
analytical,
wrapping it up
objective
country. I
point of
get you.
view.
I get you though.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm just because I actually look at the stats of which each military
Mhm.
has. You see what I'm saying? China's getting close. They getting
I don't know.
close, but they not
I
there
don't know if
yet.
we know what any military has. That's the most craziest shit right there. And it was a comedian who said this, and I'm gonna say it to resurface exactly what he said. He said, "You know the name of every government we have, the feds, the CIA, and all this, the Secret Service." He said, "But you can't name the name for the Chinese Secret Service. You can't. What's the name of them right now? You still don't know, even after that joke. Don't
Yo,
even worry about it.
but
I'll
here's
give
the
you
thing.
and
That's why I
anybody time
said
to leave that in
I
the
wouldn't have
comments.
said that 2 3 days
Say
ago. I wouldn't have said that 2 3 days
what?
ago. But if you look at what happened in
Hmm.
Venezuela, and you look at what's happening in Iran, that's two knocks against
Yeah,
China. And I say that, and the reason I say that is this: before they hit Venezuela, China was dropping off equipment in Venezuela for a month.
yeah.
Air
And that took
defense.
away from China oil supply with Venezuela. Don't get me wrong. I get that. I
Oh
get that.
yeah. And they did the same thing with Iran. For a whole month before the attack, they was dropping off, what I'm saying? They was dropping off equipment, air defense missiles, anti-air missiles, all
Yeah,
kind of shit. They was giving them, dropping all kind of shit. But two things happened in both Venezuela and
go
Iran.
ahead.
None of that shit
Yeah,
mattered.
of course.
The United States proved that they have the technology to disable all of
Yeah,
China's
for
shit
sure.
so far. You see what I'm saying? And now it's like, I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking I'm thinking the
Now, when you
Chinese.
say
You know what I'm
this stable,
saying?
I agree to that too fast. I'm sorry, but you thinking the Chinese what? I'm listening.
Oh yeah, I'm saying like for example, if you look at what happened in
Hmm.
Venezuela, right? Even the soldiers, you know what I'm saying? Even some of the soldiers that said this. Some of the soldiers that pretty much said like the one that survived the
Right.
battle, the gun battle, because what they don't tell you is they said a couple hundred motherfucking Venezuelans died
Yeah.
that day. No Americans really
Yeah.
died. So the reason is because they said the lights went out before they even knew what was going on. The lights went out, all the power went out, and then they said they came down off the helicopters and they shooting. But before they even used the sonic gun, you see what I'm saying? That made them bleed out of their eyes and their
Yeah.
ears. You see what I'm saying? They used the sonic gun and made everybody start throwing up and shit. They still shooting them while they throwing up and shit. But they realized the helicopters only got there because all the Chinese equipment that they had just
Yeah.
dropped off didn't do
Yeah.
shit. You see what I'm saying? It was like they found a way to disable all of it. And you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm keeping my ear to the ground on too, because I'm watching how the battles is taking
And you know
place.
what? I'm gonna touch on that for a second. The this is something that we found out here in the United States, and it was crazy because I remember it was mentioned something like on the Rogan podcast, whatever. But it goes to tie into with that um the Chinese, they go against the United States and all these other countries and everything. But the United States was able to beat them at some type of test or whatever, some type of whatever. But you know how they did it? They used our own Chinese citizens or immigrants
Yeah.
to beat
But
China.
that's what I was
So
gonna
that was
say.
probably the way.
That's what I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
They can have 2 billion people
As
all
long as we
day.
got 100 million
As
of them.
long as America has the ability to get the smartest people from any
Yeah,
country on the planet, it
yeah.
don't matter.
And I get that. And I get that.
That's
I get that big
no
time.
for real. And that's why it's like that's why they launching this now. That's why they trying to do this with Iran
Hmm.
now. The reason is they trying to go ahead and cut off all China's allies, cut them all off because eventually China's the goal. They know if they don't do it now, it's not going to be a chance to in 10 years.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? Because like I said, they catching
yeah.
up. They catching up. They technology. They starting to. I'm telling you,
I
man. It's
just
just
can't
like
agree. I mean, you can say that all you want, but I just can't agree, bro. I promise you, I cannot agree. I can't agree that
I hear you.
they're catching up when it's only proven that they are so far ahead of us, advanced with all the robots and the technology. So yes, we wiped them out, and we was able to wipe out the Venezuela and Iran. We was able to wipe out whatever grid they have. But do you not know that it's actually the truth that over here in the United States, China can shut us down off the grid. They can wipe they can black the lights out over here. That is a
Oh
that
yeah.
is a fact.
I'm pretty sure they got some shit up
When
their
you get
sleeve.
hacked, it ain't mostly by these well, I ain't talking about when you get scammed. That's a whole nother set of people. But when you get hacked, most of the time it's the Chinese. The Chinese have control
That's
over the
true.
power grid. That is the reason why we have to look at the biggest picture. If the Chinese wanted to, if they really truly wanted to, during this time of war, they could create a real crisis over here. We'd all be in the dark. I don't care how many AR-15s you own, how many guns you own, how many homemade bombs you know how to make. You got to be able to see your enemy. You got to be able to see. And if somebody control all of your electronics, which is the biggest form of technology that we have, electronics and robotics.
No, for real. But the problem with that
Let's
is
listen to
though,
this one. I got to listen.
they use
Say what?
they use American chips to make that technology.
Yeah, I can say
They
that. I can
use
say yeah,
Nvidia
I can say
chips.
that, but they got a lot of stuff on their own, bro. This don't stop them.
Oh, they got a lot of stuff on their own, but they know for their best technology, they use Nvidia chips. If you like, do you invest? Like, do you look at like different type of like
I
stock
can't tell you
market
my
and
stock
shit
market's
like that?
information or none of my business about that, but I could say I done dabble. Now, am I a good
Oh no,
investor?
no,
I
okay,
can't
yeah,
tell
but
you that.
I'm just pointing
But go
to
ahead.
the number one company that's on the stock
Okay.
market. You know what I'm saying? The number one company is gonna be
Hmm.
Nvidia. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's not, it's top five.
Now, you know what? I will put this. I really don't want to say this, but I'll put this into perspective. Um, I actually own some Nvidia stock for real. Like honestly, on everything I love. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna say this
because you
right here.
know,
It never disappoints. Like it'll drop a little bit, but it's right back up.
because you
It'll
know.
drop a little. right
And
back up.
the reason
Hmm.
why nobody in the on the planet thus far can replicate that technology.
Hmm.
Not China needs those Nvidia chips for everything that they're doing. And that just shows you that they a step or two behind. Because that's why Nvidia gonna keep going up. Them Nvidia
Hmm.
chips, it's microscopic. It's like a lot of people believe it's alien
I mean,
technology.
anything we doing with alien technology, AT&T was the first form of alien technology. If you look at the acronym AT&T, Alien Technology and Transformation, that's something most people are asleep on. But I tell you just like this, if you look at everything that is going on, it's alien. Even more so on the psychological level about alien stuff, about how we create lasers, beams, stuff that's able, or even
Yeah.
stuff that's able to get into your mind, or even like you just mentioned, how they hit them with the what you say they hit them with the sonar, the uh
The sonic, so
the
whatever that
sonic
sonic
wave
weapon
that
is, I don't
actually
know what it's
causes
called,
you.
but yeah,
That's alien technology. You've seen plenty of movies or several movies where the alien does something and the person get the headache, they get the ooh and this and that, and they can come on, man. Just to show you that. That's
exactly.
just to show you that even with China, but I'm saying this for a reason. The gun, and I'm gonna take it back to this. The very first gun and gunpowders. This is how gunpowder came in the ninth century, right? This is China invented that. China invented that, and guess what? The European, the what you call, in Europe, British, the British duplicated and started to produce it in mass. That's how they got better and better at making something that China made. China was the first one to supply gunpowder, so they was the first ones who had to be in touch with the alien technology first and foremost. China was the first
That
ones
could
to
be so
make
too.
guns in the ninth century, the 10th century. By the 14th century, Europe took over that shit. By the 14th, now you can look up everything that I'm stating. By the
Oh
14th
yeah, this is a
century, as
fact.
a matter of fact, not to get off with it, but to run into this, when they speak of this so-called because it was a lot of slave trades or whatever and shit like that. And I could walk you through the entire history of that. And I can tell you how they stepped into, how the British stepped into places like Yoruba, everywhere that they picked up slaves. Even it's because they was in East Africa and West Africa and stuff like that. So when we got to think of that, what were the British using? What did they say? Besides the bullshit, they said they was using cowrie shells, which come from the Indian Ocean. They said they was using cloth or whatever, and they was trading guns and alcohol for people, for slaves or whatever. This is what they say. I only
Yeah.
research history. I didn't write it. All right. So this is the thing I'm saying. When the British when the British stepped into all of these places, what they found, and this is true facts, what they found was that they could trade guns guns. And to make it so bad, it was said from the 1600s to the 1800s that they ended up trading anywhere from 2 to 5 million guns for slaves, for people. So basically, these West Africans that was allegedly, I don't know if this shit is true or whatever, that was allegedly
Yeah.
selling a people or whatever. Guess what they did? Guess what they used? They used guns. They used guns, and they didn't even have fucking AKs, no nothing. That shit wasn't even invented. They was using one shot muskets and trading for gunpowder. How do you
But it's still the
make
same
more gun?
concept
You
now.
get what I'm saying? I'm making more.
It's still the same concept now with they run these AKs to
I get
Africa
that. I get that.
and all
I get
everywhere
that.
else.
But what I'm introducing to you is China got this shit started, and don't think that they didn't keep it going. So if you're talking about these chips, guess where the rest of the world? Guess where they have to get all their technology from? They got it from China. They got it from China because China was the first ones to get it started. Don't think they quit it. Don't think they quit it. Don't think they done with it. And it was like, listen,
Oh, yeah,
you ever heard that?
I wouldn't count them
Go
out
ahead.
either. No, I was saying I wouldn't count
I
them out
can't
either.
count them out. And that's not, and I don't want people to be thinking, listening to me saying that, oh, he big team China and shit like that. Go to fuck with that. What I'm saying is on some real shit is they was through with it before the rest of the world knew what to do with it. They was already kicking ass with no feet. This is how they was moving around. They was already putting people into perspective with the gunplay, with the technology, with drones, with all this. If it wasn't for them right now, we wouldn't be trying to compete. That's why I say we cannot be ahead of them. We okay, you mentioned the Nvidia chips. That's just a part of technology. And yes, it's a big piece of technology. But these people are still using what we call, bro, they got robotics, they got engineering, they got software. All of this don't require for them to use Nvidia chips because they had it long before. They had
True.
it long before Nvidia became a company or such a thing, a name, or even was thought of. And to not to mention this right here, what powers, what factions run NVIDIA? That's what we got to look into. And that's probably another podcast, another day, or something like that. But this is my thing right here. You can't count you. The element of surprise is the biggest surprise. You cannot count the so-called enemy out. You can't think that they not on shit just because they buying chips, buying up all the chips. Okay, if they the mass producer and of the not the mass producer, but if they buying what the mass producers are producing, they buying it the most. Where that leave us to have the most technology?
That the reason why I'm saying that is
Mm-hmm.
America got a history of not releasing technology to the public until they done with it after 20
And
years.
you think China don't? They keep the greatest secret. They keep the greatest secret. They
That's true.
had, listen, they had their fleet of drones. Bro, when they put it out, you think they just put it out and was practice experimented? Look how everything was in sync. They knew what they was doing already. They already have been practicing this before they start letting the world see it. So that's, I don't know, man. That's a tough one for us to be arguing about. But that's where I'm starting to look at
I
it
mean,
like, come on, man. These people are not as they're not as slow or docile or unprepared or anything. Because when you think of some people who can kick ass, who gonna whoop ass in a war, I promise you, China come to people's minds, a lot of people's mind. And matter of fact,
oh
as
yeah,
a matter of a fact, if they didn't come to a lot of people's mind, they'd already be out of people's mind. They would be nobody you
true.
think of. Because right now, if we started about thinking about people that the United States was to go to war with, you would not be in fear of South Africa. You wouldn't. It's a lot of people that you wouldn't be in fear of because their countries don't hold. They don't hold a threat. Like they not this for us because we can go over there and send. We don't even have to go over there. We can send missiles over there and then show them what's up with a couple of missile strikes that let them know, all right, we just sent a few hundred over there. Them boys don't even want to try to shoot nothing back. You get what I'm saying? But if you did that towards China, guess what they would have already waiting on? For one, they would already see it coming. They would already be shooting missiles down and shooting missiles over here. It would already be, and people
True.
know it'll be some real war. It'll be like some galactic shit. And we can already admit to that because they up on technology. They are not ones we can count out, bro. And I know we spending a lot of time on this China topic, but they are
Oh no,
not
you
people that
good.
we can just say they
The
ain't shit.
equalizer though, the reason why they not finna cross China, the
Mm-hmm.
equalizer is the fact that they got hypersonic
Yeah,
nukes.
for sure.
Regardless of what you talk about with chips and
Yeah.
drones, like they can have all the chips, we can have all the chips, we can have smart people, they got smart people, but the equalizer at the end of the day, hypersonic
Mm-hmm.
nukes. That is nuclear bombs that travel intercontinental from China to United States of
Without a problem.
America faster than the speed of
Mm-hmm.
sound.
Without a problem.
Ain't no defense for
No,
that.
that's real alien technology.
They're traveling faster than the speed of
That's
sound.
real alien technology. That's real alien
Exactly.
technology. That's see, that's being in touch. That's being in touch with beings that are beyond the human range. That's why if you heard anything about the CIA and other government forms, like having um, extraterrestrials that look like human beings work for them. That's how you get all of this knowledge. Don't just think that there are certain groups of or factions that are just smart because we just doing this with a bunch of group of smart people. No, they're leading the way. If I can tell you something that would make more sense right now, long before, let's look at this right here. Long before you even heard of a satellite, long before we had satellites, we had what you would call maps, global maps, and all this. We had stuff that could look at star systems and all this and everything, or just look at let's keep it simple on the maps. Who the fuck took the pictures? Who knew how to map it out from up there? We didn't have satellites up there. That alien
No, for
technology
real.
right there, alien technology and transformation in front of your eyes. That's what we say. That's how we understand that certain beings showed us how these states look when they sketched out, how the world looks sketched out, because it shows you as everything could look like it was. If these maps show you, everything looks like a damn puzzle piece, a jigsaw put together. And we didn't go up there. We didn't use telekinesis and go up there and say, I saw the world. Because we don't have any stories about that. To this day, we don't have any
No, for
stories
real.
about anybody going up there. And only how we know how things look from an airplane, from a grid, from that grid look when you traveling. Guess what? They had already given that to us. And I'm talking about those beings that I can't name because we don't know how to name them. Now, maybe they're, some government officials who know these beings because they sitting right there with him right now. Like he got a point, a real point. You know what I mean? Like for real. But the thing is,
Oh,
no.
for
But the
real.
thing is, we didn't have that. You think about all of that shit that was in your school books and all that, and your parents' them school books and all that. Nobody had satellites. They didn't have satellites in the 30s and all that in the 1800s when those maps came out and all that. We didn't have. We never heard of a satellite. But guess what? Beings that knew how to harness technology and then bring it to you little sprinkles of sprinkles at a time, that's who was able to see this world. That's who was able to tell you how everything look out. They can land on a damn continent and know exactly where they are because it's so eagle eye to them. They see that. You know what I mean? That's different.
Yeah.
So if you stay in that
Like
Chinatown plane,
think of made me think of the Nazca
say what?
lines. Made me think of the Nazca
Okay, break
lines.
that down.
It's these the designs that's in South America. They said they're about a couple thousand
Okay,
years
yeah,
old. Now, when you see them, you walk up on them, you can't tell what it is. You can only tell what it is from the
yeah,
sky.
from up above.
And it's like, and then when you look at it, it's like one of them is a monkey, another one is different
Yeah,
animals, and then one of them looks like a
mhm,
alien spaceship or something like that. And they were saying like you can't even see these from the
yeah.
ground. Who was they making
Yeah,
these
it's
from?
the same thing. It's the same thing as mentioning these type of beings with crop circles and stuff like that because that's how it looks to
Exactly.
them. If they see what they see up there, they know where to land. They know where to come down. They know
Yeah.
exactly where they are because if you ever play certain games and you on top of a map or something like that, you know where that certain spot. Say like you the sniper on the game, you know where that certain spot is because you up there. You know what I mean? That person that's down there, they can't see what's going on with you. You can see what's going on down there. That's the same thing as any country or any government having the ability to have that technology. They didn't get it on their own. That's first and foremost. Second, the second part to make that point even stronger is they only using what they were gifted to use. They didn't come up with it. We didn't have our greatest telepaths go anywhere and just be like, what you see. We didn't. We
No,
didn't.
for
So
real.
that's just to show you that the world is bigger than us, and that hell, people just playing along with the beings that got us as pawn pieces.
No,
Yeah,
for real. No, man. Like, and that's the thing, man. People just gonna go with the
yeah,
flow. That's what sheep do.
easy. Right now, even right now, even as we doing our thing, right? Who's to say that this isn't certain information that was whispered around us, and then we received that transmission from
Yeah.
a ringing, or we received that from like some type of buzzing or some type of when the hair stand up or when
Yeah.
when that twitch or something happens to you, like what the hell was that? Sprinkle that gem on you just quicker than you can think about because it was meant for us to even play this wondering game and then try to figure it out.
No, for real. I believe that. Definitely open to that. Receiving signals, all
Yeah,
of
for
that.
real.
Yeah,
What
man.
was that one movie? Maybe I seen it, maybe I didn't see the whole thing, but it's a movie where they would sit there and they would meditate and they would see stuff that's happening all around the world. You know what I'm talking about? What movie that was? And they could and there was only certain ones of them they could sit there and they could meditate.
I don't probably think I ever seen it.
Hell, I don't think I seen it. But anyway, but anyway,
Like they remote viewing though is what it sounds like.
no
That's the thing that the government really been working on. It's called remote
remote
viewing.
viewing.
They've been they've been working with I think it's called Project Looking Glass if I'm not
Mm,
mistaken. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's called Project Looking Glass. They've been playing with LSD. They've been playing with psilocybin, ayahuasca, stuff like
Oh,
that. Basically, yeah. So what they trying to do is they realize that over time that people keep having these similar experiences, like on ayahuasca and LSD, things like that. All of these, what they call it, any DMT,
DMT,
really.
that it's naturally built up in your body. I know what you mean, though.
Exactly. So what the government started doing is they started realizing that people was having the same experiences. So they started pretty much assuming that this is not just some random experience. This is a place that they go into.
Hmm.
And so they started doing experiments trying to map out the DMT realm. You see what I'm saying? So, and what they eventually came to was the ability to, what we would call remote viewing, or I don't know if you would call it even a form of astral projecting. And so, what they've been able to do is that what they claim to have the ability to do is they can see, they got this thing that they said that they can see what's going on in the world at any time, everywhere, past or future.
Okay. All right.
And so that's what this project Looking Glass is. They was able to. They said they got. I don't know. I can't. I got to look into the exact of it, and I can probably look into it on the
Oh,
next one.
okay.
But it's like,
I know what
yeah,
you're talking
man. But
about.
they've been trying to figure out how to access these. I guess these abilities or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Shit. What if we can do that? What if we was on that level, like where we get back in touch with those powers? Because you hear stories like, man, all these movies are really about us, about what we can humanly do, how we can humanly fly, how we can humanly astral
No,
project,
for real.
how we
When
can
we talking
humanly
about what's possible,
what's up?
when we talking about what's possible and scientifically thinking, I like to go into that quantum
Hmm.
era because that's where science and magic meet.
Yeah.
That's where we start to get to the things mathematically that we can't explain. Now, you ever heard of this thing called I'm trying to think of the actual term for it, but the way we learned it was called they call it spooky action at a distance.
Ah,
Something that Albert Einstein
okay.
came up with. And this is pretty much what got people thinking that we live in a simulation and everything is a
Right.
matrix. Because one thing they realize, you know how like spiritual people they say, you ask the universe for something or you ask God for something and you'll get it. You know what I'm saying? That's just something that spiritual people will
Hmm.
say. You know what I'm saying? But now they realize that on a quantum level, mathematically speaking,
Right.
scientifically
Right.
speaking, the universe is responding to our consciousness.
Right.
They can't explain it. Now that's the part they can't explain. For example, this is how they realized this. It was this experiment where they got a microscope on something, watching something,
Mm.
right? And they got like they got a way of taking the status of it, like on or off.
Right.
For example, and for whatever reason, they don't understand this. But the thing, it has no possible way of knowing if somebody's looking through the camera. It's microscopic. It's like atomic on an atomic
Okay.
level. You see what I'm saying? It changes state when nobody's looking at it. It's in a different state that we can't see, but the moment we look at it, it's something else.
Right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to this hole where no depth is too deep, where the woke stay woke and the sleepers can't sleep. Peace.
Thank you for tuning into The Hole, brought to you by The Migrated Minds, starring Shaman Jamont and Saxo. Until the next time, tribes, stay tuned for the next episode.